So I just picked up this 14-inch oscillating spindle sander from Harbor Freight. Seems like this is a really good option. Definitely, I was comparing a bunch of the prices. This is one of the cheapest ones online, and it has some really good reviews. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. We just got these cords here we need to cut. There we go. Just like that. And I picked this up. I think the in-store price said that it's about $130 if I remember correctly. And of course, never go to Harbor Freight without coupons, so it was a Mother's Day sale and they had a 25% off. So we went ahead and used that. So I do think I got this. I think they said the final price was about 100 and I'll have to look at the receipt, but I think it was about $110 including tax. So tax did bring the cost back up, but that 25% off helped a lot. So there's just some packing in here. Throw that on the ground. They have it placed in here upside down, but it's not terribly light. The base is made out of plastic. It's not terribly heavy is what I meant to say. So we'll lift this out and move the box down there. Place this back. Alright. So with the spindle sander placed right here, you can see they have the cast iron table. It has oil on it, so we'll have to clean that off. But now with the plastic and it's wrapping off, we can get a look at this. And really, I guess first you might be saying, well, the plastic shell here is just kind of cheap. But really looking at a bunch of different spindle sanders, one of my friends has a Grizzly. It's maybe like a $200 sander. It's a nice machine, but it also has a plastic base. So I mean, almost all of them have plastic bases. Maybe it wouldn't if you went with like one of the $500 Deltas, but I don't think you need that. I mean, at least for what I'm doing, I don't need that $500 Delta. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove that piece of paper. We'll just clean that off with some paper. This is a reverse thread, which is a little weird to get used to, but I'll take that off. And then in the box, there is, whoops, there it goes. And then in the box, we have all of these spindles that go in here and all of the washers. So now I can go ahead and pull these guys out. Okay, and let's put them up here. So these are all of our spindles. Let me take this, cut it open. It is nice to have a sharp knife again. Okay, so they have, I'm pretty sure they have 80 grit on here currently. If I pop one of these out, let me read it. 100 grit. Okay, so they have 100 grit on here. And we have a bunch of different sizes. I'm going to slide this back and we'll lay these out in size order. So first we have our 1/2-inch sleeve. And then this actually doesn't have one of the little rubber sleeves. This one just slides right over the shaft. And then we have this one, which I'm going to say 3/8. Let me look at the sizes here. You know what? Maybe this one's smaller. Maybe this is 1/4 inch and this is 1/2. I don't know. I'm going to take a look at all the sizes. But here in size order, here is all of our sanding discs. So the sizes we have here is 1/2 inch, and then we have 3/4, 1 inch, 1.5 inch, 2 inch, and then 3 inch. Now, I've seen reviews saying this sandpaper isn't the greatest sandpaper. It's pretty cheap. Now, feeling this, it's sandpaper. It'll definitely do the job. But I got some Diablo sandpaper from Home Depot, and if I pull this out, here's 150 grit, I can definitely feel a really big difference. Now, I guess these sizes don't go up to the 3-inch size, which is fine. I'm not going to be using 3-inch too often, but this is much more grippy. This stuff will definitely cut better, and I think it's important to have good sandpaper on the tool. So with these, I have all the different sizes in some really nice sandpaper. There is, I think, 150 grit and 80 grit in this pack. It was about $15. It's a little expensive. It's not terrible, but it's really good sandpaper, and that's important. So I'm just going to take some rubbing alcohol on a piece of toilet paper and wipe this down just to make sure we have all the grease off. You wouldn't, oh wow, look at that. You don't want to have grease getting all over the wood and staining it. So it's important that we get all of this off. I definitely like the pattern on this. It's a pretty cool pattern. But it's also nice that they have this all machined down real flat. That's going to be precise. We're going to have a nice right angle here. So there's definitely a good amount of grease on here. You can see every time I lift it up, it's black again. So I'm just using a little bit of rubbing alcohol, making sure this is clean. One thing that I think would be nice on this would be an adjustable table where I can actually get an angle, so when I put my piece on, I can set an angle. But I guess whenever you have that adjustment, it can be a little bit not square. It'd be hard to get it back to square, but I think it would be nice to have that available so I can get angles on my pieces. So I guess what I could do is just like put a board here or a piece of wood, and then that'll be able to give my angles there. But I mean, for the price, I'm definitely happy so far. So these are the washers that go on top of these. So I'll go ahead and break this part. And I'll start out with, let's put this one on. So I'll find the washer that fits this one, which is this one right here. Now, one thing I heard in some of the reviews is this washer should fit inside of the sandpaper here. It shouldn't be on top, because what this is doing is it's compressing this rubber here. When it compresses that, it makes the rubber bulge. And if this is also on the sandpaper, it's also going to be crushing the top of the sandpaper, adding a little lip there, and it won't really be compressing the rubber as much as it should be. So what I'm going to do is just sand this down a little bit. I could use the belt sander or the disc sander or the lathe just to clean that up. Maybe just take a 1/16 off. It doesn't need to be very much, but it just needs to fit inside of the sandpaper. So now I'll just take a file, and with the drill spinning, I can just file this. It'll be easier and safer than a disc sander. So now with this washer all machined down kind of, I just did that with the file, and now it fits inside of there, and that's important. So what I'm going to do is find the correct size washer, which I think is not this one. I was just holding it. Okay, so we're going to take this, slide it on, put that on there, take our nut, thread it on. Just remember it's a reverse thread, so it's kind of weird. Now with this threaded on there, you can see that'll push down. And now that's staying on there. That's not going to move up and down. So now we're going to find the correct size. This, rip it open. And I think this is the 1.5 or 3/4. So here we have the 3/4 piece. We can just pop that right on there, and now we're ready to go ahead and fire it up. But before we do that, it's nice that they have this whole onboard storage system. So what I'm going to do is put everything in its place. So we have our 2-inch there, 1.5 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4, and then this one's on there. And then we have our washers here. Say that one goes in there, right there, there, there. And then these go on the front here, so I'll go biggest to smallest. And then one of these is always going to be up here, resting here. It doesn't have room for all of them. So now let's go ahead and turn this on. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's smooth. It seems like it's running well. I'm gonna go ahead and take a piece of wood and see how well this works. Now with a piece of plywood, I'm just gonna hog into this. I think this is 3/4 inch, so we're gonna really test the motor out and see if it'll bog down. So with that made a pretty fast indent on there. That seemed to work really well. I'm happy with that. And I'm surprised it wasn't burning. I was really pushing into that pretty hard, and it's not burning, and I didn't see the motor bogging down at all. If anything, maybe the up and down motion may have slowed down a little bit, but it didn't burn at all, which is fine. But now I want to try out some of these Diablo sandpapers and see if this is going to make a big difference. Now I'll pull this out. And this does have a dust port in the back. If I just hooked a shop vac up or a dust collection system to that, it would be nice, but I don't have a dust collection system, and the shop vac is not over here. So I'm going to slide that in place, take our washer, put that on, and thread on the nut and see how much better this 80 grit Diablo sandpaper works. So I just have some 80 grit on here. The pack of Diablo sandpaper has 150 grit and 80 grit. The stuff that came with the spindle sander was 100 grit. If I feel this is not sharp, especially compared to this. This is way sharper. Even the 150 grit feels sharper than this 100 grit. So let's go ahead and see how well this works with the new grit. Wow, I'm really surprised by that. That definitely went a lot faster. Compared to this, I was able to just hog away more material. I think it's definitely important to get good sandpaper with this. I mean, that made a big difference. So it seems like off the bat, this is a pretty good machine. I'm happy with how it's working so far. I just want to see how well this stands the test of time. I think it'll do really well, and so far, I'm happy with it. So I hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.